Hey guys, it's Dave. Have not made a video in a considerable amount of time, but I'm finally back. Whether you guys like it or not. I know some people watch these, not many people do, but it's alright. So, today we're here to talk about Game 3 of the NBA Finals. And it's just a very interesting game tonight because not only is KD out, not only is Kevon Looney out, he's actually out for the entire rest of the series, like confirmed already with fucked up collarbone. I'm assuming he like fractured it. I wish I had more information than just that, but the past two games of the NBA Finals, I was actually at work, so unfortunately, I was unable to. Yeah, okay, so it was a collarbone fracture. But basically, I had to listen to it by streaming ESPN radio at my job while also working, so there was probably a couple things I missed in the games, and then by the time it was like toward the end of the fourth quarter, I was just getting in my car around that time to go back home for my hour-long drive back to my place, so there was definitely a few things I missed at one point or another during the games just because I had a lot of shit to do at work. But Kevin Durant is ruled out for tonight. So no Kevin Durant, no Kevon Looney. As of right now, it's still to be determined for Klay Thompson. It says DTD. So I'm assuming that just means like a game time decision kind of situation. But yeah, it's a really interesting game tonight because they don't have those three guys potentially. And, you know, you need Kevon Looney for defense to keep the bigs in check for Toronto. Kevin Durant's just like your Swiss Army knife. He could literally do it all. Not having him this game is going to be a big fucking deal, to say the least. It's going to be interesting to see how the Warriors deal without not just him, but also no Kevon Looney, what they're going to do with their defensive sets, and how they're going to try to disrupt this Toronto offense. They did do a good job, though, in Game 2. I will give them a lot of credit for the way that they handled their defensive sets against Toronto. That is important to note, though. Kawhi Leonard is definitely hampered a decent bit, and it's definitely limiting his offensive capabilities, and definitely going to limit him a bit on defense as well, I'm sure, for the rest of the series, not just this game. So that'll be important to watch and keep an eye out for on that front, regardless of which team you're rooting for. And Pascal Siakam, will he be able to elevate his game the way he did in Game 1? He was sensational in Game 1, had 28 points, just put on an absolute clinic. And I was very impressed with his play in Game 1. Kyle Lowry of the Toronto Raptors, he's had two poor games so far, been limited very much so from the offensive standpoint, and he's been doing really poorly with his decision making on defense, and he's been getting a lot of stupid fouls. Like, there were a couple fouls I was listening to on the radio in Game 2 where he definitely shouldn't have made certain plays on the ball, and because he did, it resulted in him getting fouled out because he was just way too aggressive in certain situations where you shouldn't be aggressive. Like, you obviously need to be aggressive on defense, but there's a time and a place for everything. And if you know that you have 5 fouls, you do not try to make an aggressive play on the ball and hope that it's a 50-50 shot of you being fouled out or not. That's just not a smart way to play, especially when you're supposed to be one of the main pieces on this Toronto team, even though you've been significantly reduced offensively in the first 2 games. That doesn't mean you just throw caution in the wind and just say, hey, let me be aggressive and see what the fuck happens. Like, no, it's not smart basketball. That's not championship basketball. He really needs to step it up and play a lot smarter on defense. Though he has been doing pretty well on taking charges, and he has a lot of guts for that. I will give him a lot of credit for that. And for Golden State, without potentially Klay Thompson, Kevon Looney, and Kevin Durant, Steph Curry is obviously going to have to be the main focal point of the offense, as he always is, with the exception of once Kevin Durant got there, he always was that. So now that he's out for this game, it's going to have to be the Steph Curry show once again, especially if Klay isn't playing. And the offense is going to have to run through him 125%. And he's going to have to kick it out when he's being guarded really tight. Like, towards the end of the game, last game, they did a really good job, Toronto, at first on the last possession of trapping on Steph Curry. But then, unfortunately, they left Andre Iguodala wide open, and he nailed the 3, and then that was that, and they lost that game because of that. But they had a decent shot before that pass went out to Andre Iguodala to potentially get a steal, get a jump ball, something of that nature. So, the way that they're going to defend Steph Curry is going to be really interesting to me. Are they going to double team him and live with Andre Iguodala potentially being open for 3-point shots? Are they going to be okay with Draymond Green potentially being left wide open to go for dunks or putbacks? Or are they going to play the way they did in Game 1 and just handle the innumerable amount of switches that the Warriors do as best as they possibly can? So that's going to be really interesting to see. And the second most important player, obviously, as of right now for Game 3, if Klay ends up not playing, is, obviously Draymond Green. He's the glue guy, and he's been very, very good the past 4 or 5 games in the playoffs. He had a near triple-double the other night in Game 2. I believe he was either like 1 rebound or 1 assist shy of another triple-double. So he's been playing exceptionally well. And from the Warriors standpoint, if I was Steve Kerr, I would not be worried about his production whatsoever, because it's obvious that he can step up, and the bench players have definitely stepped up when they needed to. Alfonso McKinney and other guys on the bench have played very, very well. And honestly, for me, I might get a little bit of flack for this. I don't really care. It honestly just comes down to Steph Curry. How much of an impact are you going to have on the offensive and defensive side of the ball? You're not a great defender, Steph Curry. So how are you going to make up for that Are they going to go with more like double teams to help out Steph Curry's defense? Are they going to just hide him on defense like they have been and just do more of the same? The problem with that is you don't have Klay Thompson, who's a very good defender. You don't have Kevon Looney, who's a very good defender. And you don't have Kevin Durant, who's also a very good defender, to help hide Steph Curry on defense. So how is he going to respond to that defensive assignment challenge in Game 3? And how is he going to respond offensively in this game? Because he hasn't been exactly lighting it up the first 2 games of the finals. Let me see here. Just pull up his stats real quick from the first 2 games, point-wise. Let's see. Yeah, he was 8 for 18. He hit all 14 of his free throws. He made 4 of 9 3-point shots. Still somehow managed 34 points, but that's a very inefficient 34 points, you know? And with potentially Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, and Kevon Looney, all 3 of them out, you're going to have to get efficient shots against this Toronto Raptors team, and you're going to have to be very, very solid as a whole. And then Game 2, he played even worse. He was 3 for 10 on 3-point shots, 6 for 17 on all of his shots combined. Obviously not counting free throws in that. And he only scored 23 points. So how is he going to step up and respond to the call of duty? And if he can channel some of that talent and just whatever you want to call it from his unanimous MVP season, and just have that grit to just grind out the game and just completely dominate, and Draymond Green has a big game, I could honestly see them winning this game. For the Raptors, they just have to fucking go back to what they did in Game 1, honestly. Because that seemed to work really well for them. You know, once you get Pascal Siakam going, at least in the first game, you know, he was on fire. You get him going early on, it could be a tough night for the Golden State Warriors. You get Kyle Lowry out of his slump, it's going to be a tough night for the Warriors. And if Kawhi breaks out of his slump, watch out, Golden State. Watch out. That's all I got to say. So, with all that being said, I feel like the Raptors are going to win a close game. I'm going to say the Raptors win the game tonight in Oakland, 105-98. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.